October 12, 2015, a night flight landed in Melbourne, Australia. On board was a small family of Kerala Indian origin who had just finished a 2-week vacation in their homeland. They brought with them smiles, wishes of peace, and memories of gathering with their elderly parents. But no one expected that this would also be the last time Sam Abraham's parents would see their son alive. Sam Abraham, 33, a gentle, hard-working man, lives with his wife Sophia Sam and their 7-year-old son in the suburb of Epping. The two were childhood friends, growing up together in a peaceful village in Kerala. They shared the same dreams and overcame hardships to build a new life in Australia. To outsiders, Sam and Sophia were the epitome of a successful immigrant family, stable jobs, a small, happy home, and a bright future for their son. But that night, after a simple dinner and goodnight wishes as the family drifted off to sleep, a silent tragedy began. Just a few hours later, Sophia screamed in shock to the neighbors. Her husband did not wake up. The sudden death was initially attributed to heart disease, but the truth, like a cold knife, was hidden behind the curtain of sorrow. A truth that would take months for the Melbourne police to uncover. Sam did not die naturally. He was poisoned, right in his own home. Before diving into the truth, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any mysterious real cases. Each of your likes and comments is the motivation for me to continue bringing true and haunting stories. Now, let's find out more about this case right after this. Sam Abraham was born and raised in a small village in the state of Kerala, South India. Since childhood, he was known as a gentle, intelligent boy, especially passionate about music. Every Sunday, people often saw Sam in the church choir, his voice resounding among the hymns in the proud eyes of his parents and friends. Later, when he grew up, Sam chose the path of education, pursuing an MBA degree, then gradually built a career in banks and financial companies. Hard-working, responsible, he was the great hope of his family, a Kerala boy carrying the dream of integration and success in a foreign land. Sophia Sam, childhood friend and future wife, had a different background. The daughter of a former military officer, Sophia was raised in a disciplined manner, studied well, and showed early intelligence. She pursued electronics, earned a master's degree, and quickly found a job in the field of information technology. In the eyes of her friends, Sophia was gentle, talented, and loved. Her childhood friendship with Sam gradually blossomed into love. After many difficulties and initial opposition from her family, the two finally came together. In 2008, they got married with the blessings of relatives and neighbors. A year later, a cute son was born, bringing complete joy to their small family. On the surface, this was a peaceful, well-off, admirable family. But inside, cracks began to appear. Sam was devoted to his family, while Sophia carried a secret, a deep love affair with another man, Arun Kamalasanan. It was this secret love affair, along with desires, calculations, and lies, that became the fuse that led to tragedy. After getting married, Sam and Sophia moved to big cities for work. At first, their love was still strong, but gradually, when Sophia took a job in Bangalore and then settled in Melbourne with her son, cracks in the marriage began to appear. Sam was working far from home at that time in Dubai, then Oman, and then asked to move to Australia to reunite. The geographical distance and work pressure made him more sensitive, often worried about changes in his wife's attitude. Sam could clearly feel that Sophia was no longer the same. She often avoided questions about her schedule, was absent from home more often, and always had a password on her phone. The arguments became more and more intense. He had a premonition that something dark was looming over the family. Even during a trip back to his hometown of Kerala in October 2015, Sam blurted out to his parents, "I'm afraid that this time I return to Australia, I'll be returning in a coffin." Those ominous words sent shivers down the family's spine, but everyone thought it was just excessive worry. What Sam didn't know was that Sophia had been harboring a secret love affair for years. While in graduate school, she met Arun Kamalasanan, another Kerala man. Their friendship quickly turned into romance. At one point, Sophia even wanted to leave Sam for Arun, but later agreed to marry her childhood friend. After moving to Australia, the chance to reunite with Aaron, who had already settled there, rekindled their old romance. Sam was suspicious and fearful, but could find no evidence. He only knew that he was losing his wife to another man. And then the accumulated conflicts, obsessions, and complaints in Sophia's diary led to a cruel plan: to eliminate Sam to make way for a new life with Arun. On the night of October 14th, 2015, at a small house in Epping, Melbourne, Sam returned home after a tiring day at work. In the kitchen, Sophia prepared his favorite drink, a cool avocado smoothie. But tonight it contained more than just fruit and milk. Secretly, Sophia crushed sleeping pills and mixed them into the glass, ensuring that Sam would quickly lose consciousness. Sam drank it all without realizing it. Within minutes, he began to feel heavy, his eyelids drooping. His body gradually sank into an unnatural sleep. He fell onto the bed, unable to resist. As Sam passed out, a man stepped out of the room inside, Aaron Kamalasanan. He had been there before, hiding and waiting for the right moment. With a cold gaze, Aaron said simply, "Now is the time." Sophia hurriedly prepared another glass of orange juice. Under the dim yellow light, she quietly poured in a lethal dose of cyanide. The odorless, colorless poison quickly dissolved, turning the seemingly harmless glass of water into a murder weapon. They forced Sam to drink. The poison took over. Within minutes, white foam was coming from his mouth and his body was convulsing violently. His eyes were wide open, choking in excruciating pain, before he fell silent forever. In the quiet room, Sam Abraham, the gentle son, the devoted husband, the loving father, breathed his last. Beside him, his wife feigned panic, and his lover coldly disappeared into the darkness. That night, a life ended, and a terrible crime was hidden under the scenario of an unexpected death. The next morning, October 15th, 2015. Melbourne was still misty. Sophia woke up early, like a normal wife. She went to the kitchen, prepared coffee, then returned to the bedroom to call her husband. But Sam was still lying motionless. His body was getting cold, his breathing had stopped. At first, Sophia called softly, then she shook him, her voice shaking as she called his name. There was no response. Tears welled up in her eyes, and her cries echoed throughout the house. Neighbors heard her and rushed over. They saw Sam lying motionless, his face pale, and called an ambulance. A few minutes later, an ambulance arrived. The paramedics quickly checked him over. They bowed their heads, shook him gently, and then announced what no one wanted to hear. Sam had been dead for hours. The news was like a thunderbolt. Sophia collapsed, sobbing, clutching her husband's body, screaming as if in excruciating pain. To the neighbors and even the medical staff, it all seemed obvious. A sudden death, probably of heart disease. Sam was young and healthy, but sometimes death comes without warning. The medical records listed the initial cause: sudden cardiac failure. The next day, when the news reached Kerala, Sam's parents collapsed. They sobbed, recalling their son's haunting last words before returning to Australia. "I fear that one day I will come home in a coffin." And just 3 days later, that was true. The whole village was in an uproar. Everyone thought that an unjust disaster had taken Sam's life. No one expected that, behind Sophia's crying act, the truth was much more terrifying. Sam Abraham's death was quickly arranged. On October 18th, 2015, his body was flown back to his hometown in Kerala for burial. Thousands of villagers came to see him off, all mourning the loss of a gentle son. For the family, it was an irreparable loss. For Sophia, it was a complete drama, or at least she thought it was. But things began to change 10 months later. In August 2016, Sam's father received a call from the Melbourne police. The stern voice on the other end of the line left him speechless. "Your son's death was not caused by a heart attack. We have evidence that it was a cyanide murder." Forensic doctors re-examined Sam's body. Blood samples from his body revealed a shocking truth. extremely high levels of cyanide, along with traces of sedatives. This proved that he had been given sleeping pills first, then poisoned. The conclusion instantly turned a natural death into a meticulously planned murder. The Victoria police were in no hurry. They kept the news under wraps while they quietly targeted Sophia. Multiple teams were assigned, one to monitor her every move, one to tap her phone, another to scrutinize her finances. And they quickly discovered irregularities. Just a few months after Sam's death, Sophia transferred ownership of her husband's car to a man named Arun Kamalasanan. Soon after, she opened a joint bank account with him, into which she transferred all of Sam's money. Secret phone calls and discreet meetings between Sophia and Aaron at coffee shops and parks only reinforced her suspicions. More than 100 hours of phone recordings, along with Sophia's private diary, where she confided her torment over her extramarital affair, became the complete puzzle. The police saw the motive clearly: love, money, the desire for freedom. The day Sophia and Aaron were summoned for questioning, the curtain fell off. Initially, both stubbornly denied the allegations. But under the pressure of evidence, from forensic results to financial data and audio recordings, cracks began to show. Finally, during the interrogation, Aaron accidentally admitted to being in the house the night Sam died. That alone was enough to shatter all calculations. The trial of Sophia Sam and Aaron Kamalasanan began in early 2018 in the Supreme Court of Victoria, Australia. The courthouse was packed. Below, Sam's elderly parents sat silently, their eyes red from sleepless nights. Before them, their daughter-in-law, who had once been considered their own, stood in the dock, head bowed, while beside her stood her lover, the man accused of complicity in their son's death. Prosecutors opened with a series of damning evidence. A forensic report confirming that the cyanide concentration in Sam's blood was many times higher than the lethal threshold. Traces of sedatives in her stomach. Sophia's unusual financial dealings after her husband's death. Hundreds of hours of phone records and intimate text messages between her and Aaron, and a private diary in which Sophia admitted her tears and desire to live fully with her lover. The defense tried to argue that Sophia was a single mother, that she might have been manipulated by Aaron, that Aaron's drunken confession was not convincing. But each argument was rejected by the prosecution. The evidence of meticulous planning, from the preparation of sleeping pills and cyanide to Aaron's hiding in the house, painted a clear picture of guilt. In the end, the jury took little time to reach a verdict. Both Sophia Sam and Arun Kamalasanan were guilty of murder. On sentencing day, the judge looked straight at the two defendants, his voice stern. Arun Kamalasanan, 27 years, no parole for the first 23 years. Sophia Sam, 22 years, no parole for 18 years. Sophia burst into tears, begging for leniency because she had a young child. But the judge coldly replied, "Because of the child, you deserve no mercy. A real mother would not destroy her child's home by killing her own father." Custody of the child was later given to the paternal grandparents in Kerala. In tears, Sam's parents held their grandson, as if he were the only living memory they had of their lost son. The Sam Abraham case ended with a harsh sentence for Sophia Sam and Arun Kamalasanan. Justice was served, but at the cost of a life lost, a family torn apart, and a child growing up without both parents. From a once admired home, tragedy struck because of selfishness, betrayal, and bottomless greed. Sophia was once a beloved wife, a respected mother, but her emotional fall and desire for freedom turned her into an accomplice in the murder of her own husband. Arun, from an intellectual man, chose to become a murderer just to seize an illicit love. Sam's death also left many haunting memories. Before he died, he had a premonition of an ominous fate, even telling his parents, "I might come back in a coffin." That prediction not only made people shudder, but also raised the question, can the human heart ever sense impending disaster? What pained society the most was not only the death of a young man, but also the lesson of betrayal in love and marriage. A vow may be made at the altar, but if the heart is not faithful, it can easily turn into a lie. And lies, when hidden for too long, can lead to the most terrible crimes. This case also reminds us that no secret can stay hidden forever. Truth, like light, always finds a way to penetrate the darkness. Cyanide can kill a man in minutes, but justice is persistent, quiet, and will eventually surface. Above all, this is a warning about the value of family and trust. When love turns into blind possession, when desire surpasses morality, tragedy will happen. Sam Abraham lost his life, but his story will forever remain as a warning bell. Cherish what you have. Do not let greed and lust lead us down the path of sin. For no murderer ever lives in the dark, and no truth ever remains buried forever.